NYYST. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York. Yankee sports talk, homie. New York. Yankee sports talk. Record, rain, and shine. Grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST. You're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 295 of the NYYST podcast. We're presented by NYYNewsTV. I'm your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
What up, bro?
What's up, man?
Nothing.
Don't you always hate the first 3 seconds of the show?
I don't know.
You just don't know what to say.
Dog's looking out the window. I don't know what he sees.
I'll say this. I'll break the ice. If the Yankees didn't win today, we're recording on Sunday. It's pre-recorded. This show would have been a fucking train wreck.
Well, the show's always pre-recorded for those people that listen on Apple Podcasts.
Pro.
So if you're in the chat on NYY News TV, yes, we recorded Sunday night. You're watching a premiere and not a live episode. So don't have to be in the chat going.
People get pissed. They're like, why pretend like it's live? It's not. It's a premiere, dude.
We're not pretending it's live. We're coming out and telling you that this is not a live show.
I don't want this to be live. This couldn't be live. I'm glad we're not live this week.
Are you planning on doing something?
Something crazy could happen. I'm glad. Like I said, if they didn't win today, where I was mentally, it was one of the darkest places I've been as a Yankee fan.
Are you planning on saying something that can't make air? I mean,
No, I just mentally wasn't there. Anything could have happened. I have two windows in this room, in my daughter's room. Okay. That's where I'm subject to record. Okay. I have two windows here. One of them might have had me going through it.
Okay.
That's where I was.
I wish I would have known that. I would have rooted for a loss today.
I know. And it's so sad because my son is he's 5 years old.
Okay, 5.
He loves baseball, but he's finally loving watching the games.
Okay.
And he's pretending to when you're a kid, pretending to hit fucking home runs, you're Yankees. And he's getting up there. He's Aaron Judge hitting grand slam. Then he's Anthony Rizzo hitting a grand slam. And I don't have the heart to tell him. That A, you can't hit a grand slam as a leadoff hitter.
Okay.
And B, the Yankees can't hit the broadside of a fucking barn right now.
Well, you need to teach him the rules of baseball. Okay, that's your job.
Okay, that's my job. Okay. Failure on my part.
Failure. Okay, that's number 1.
I'm a failure of a parent.
And number 2. Okay, the Yankees do hit grand slams. Okay,
they do. Okay, just one of them, and then he gets poopy butt.
Yeah. So the Yankees having a stellar homestand after just an atrocious road trip. They're what, 2-5 on this homestand so far?
Correct. Against division rivals.
And they had to win the final game of each series to stave off sweep. So things are not going well for the Yankees. And I don't really know if this is pretend acting from Boone or if he's really mad, but he's been a little testy in the post games after Friday and Saturday's games, slapping a table, yelling at reporters. It's not really Aaron Boone's way, so I don't know if he's just putting on an act. No, he's really mad.
I don't think he is. I think he's genuinely pissed.
I think he's mad. Yeah, sure, he's not happy with the team, the way the team is playing, but I also think the slap on a table was a little fugazi the other night.
No, I don't at all. I do.
A real man punches the table and then throws the microphone across the room.
Maybe, but he's not allowed to be a real man here. You have to remember that. He got out of line and then went, oh my God, I'm the cuck. I'm Brian Cashman's cuck. I better rein it in. Do you know where he lost me? After he smacked the table and then he immediately adjusted the microphone back.
That's because
that's where he lost me a little.
That was a predetermined smack.
Predetermined.
If you are that much in the throes of an anger rage,
right?
You're not thinking to fix the microphone,
right? So you're right a little.
You're looking to do more damage and throw some shit. So the microphone should have landed at some masked reporter.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
So the Yankees did win today. They they should have scored a lot more runs than they did. It really shouldn't have come down to needing the heroics of Andrew Benintendi in the 7th inning, but it did. So, I mean, this is where we're at right now. I know a lot of fans, since we're talking about Aaron Boone, that's the fire Aaron Boone. We got to fire Aaron Boone. We talk about this on the show a lot. What do you think you're accomplishing by firing Aaron Boone? Let's talk about the logic of firing Aaron Boone, which is not going to happen because. Let's do it. Excuse me. Did the Yankees not give this guy a 3-year extension a week after another terrible October loss?
Yes.
So why are they now? What makes you think they're going to fire him while this team still holds a pretty sizable lead in the American League East?
Yeah, true.
We're just to get everybody who's like, they got to fire him. They got to fire him. Well, what makes you think they are going to do it? What if the Yankees exactly lost right now? Okay, they don't have home field advantage anymore. Yeah, is that a reason to fire your manager? Like, let's use logic in a sense here and not talk with emotion so much. Okay, they fell behind the Astros. They're probably not going to catch them now. You fire your manager over that? I don't know. The time to do it was last year. You didn't even have to fire him. He was done. He was out of a contract. They waited like 6 days after getting embarrassed in Boston, and they were like, "Oh, let's bring him back." Why when they're still holding the lead in the East are they now going to be like, "Oh, we got to fire him"? It's not going to happen.
There's certain things that you say, and I hate giving you credit for shit. You know that. So when I actually give you credit, it's coming from a genuine place. But there's certain things you say that resonate with me. And I remember them, and I think they're worth sticking to. I think they're worth having as a foundation here of principles to think back on and to really reflect on. And the one thing you've said, and I always go back to it, is the person who hired Aaron Boone, who gave him that contract, that extension, doesn't deserve to fire him. He doesn't get to fire Aaron Boone at this point.
No, he doesn't.
And I think it ends there because, okay, so if you fire Aaron Boone, I'm not saying that it wouldn't better the team or worsen the team. I'm not going to speculate on that right now. All I'll say is we can pretty much say, at least on the surface, it's for optics. It's theater, right? We like to say that because at that point you have an interim manager. Right, it would probably be what's his face?
Is Mendoza the bench coach?
Mendoza.
Yeah, okay.
Probably be Mendoza, right? Does the team play better for Mendoza? Maybe, but again, it's more of an optics thing. It's more of a, hey, we care. We're gonna fire this guy because this is a fucking nosedive, right? It's not the end all be all. What's gonna save this team? So why should he get to do that when next year we know fucking clear? I am 98% positive that Brian Cashman, no matter what happens, will still have a job and he will be hiring the next manager. Why does he get to do any of that?
He shouldn't get to do any of that. I thought it was time to clean house after last year, and we're still here. And like you said, it's going to be, I would put it at a 98% probability, regardless of what happens, we will be here again next year with the same regime in place. So,
here's what I tweeted, and I mean it. And I know you don't like to hear this because I don't know what it means for the future of this show, but I absolutely mean it. So get ready. And maybe my thoughts will change. Maybe this is heat of the moment. I'm willing to watch a shitty team. I'm willing to watch this team fail. I am. I'm willing to go 20 years of watching this team be unbearable. What I'm not willing to do is be made a fool in the process. And I promise you, if this team doesn't win a pennant, let alone a World Series, and they bring back Boone and they bring back Cashman, they are doing nothing but making you, me, and everyone who supports this team a fool. And I don't know if I'm willing to do that anymore. I'm not saying I won't root for the team. I'm not saying I won't watch games. but I don't know if my heart will be there the way it is now.
Okay, well,
I really
you know
don't.
what? If you don't like being made a fool of, I mean, you should probably just take all the mirrors out of your house, because just when you wake up in the morning, you make a fool of yourself. Okay?
Can listen? If you think me looking in the mirror is the worst part of my days, you're mistaken.
Well, yes. If it gets worse from there, bro, then you got bigger.
You know what I
problems than
love?
the-
This is
than
a
what the
great
Yankees
plug.
are up to.
This is a great plug for our Patreon. You go to patreon.com/NYYST if you want some bonus content. I post all your Patreons that you do. And if you go like in order, you have this thing where it's like 5 weeks ago, you're clean shaven. And then you just progressively, each post, I see more and more beard.
Mm-hmm,
What do you do? You shave every 5 weeks?
I was probably on vacation 5 weeks ago, so that's
you
why
do the vacation shave.
Right.
You shave up and down?
It's
You
none
go
of
up
your
and down
business.
shave?
Okay, that's none of your business.
Okay.
Okay.
So the Yankees did
For all you
win.
people.
I mean, the Yankees did win today, right? So I mean, it doesn't fix everything. It's just you can breathe a little bit that they didn't get swept. The lead, it didn't go down to 5, which is you're in real danger territory
Real
at
danger.
that point. At that point, so they took a game, and it was another very frustrating game to watch today, because Fugazi tough guy Alek Manoah didn't have good stuff today, and he gave up 2 runs over 6 innings. Because you're watching this game, okay? He has no control of his fastball, but Gleyber Torres decides he's going to swing at it 2-0. He decides he's going to swing at it 3-0.
Crazy.
Both way inside, and both allowed Manoah to get back into the count and retire him and strand runners in scoring position. Now, before we actually deep dive Manoah here, which we have other things to talk about regarding him, Gleyber Torres needs to be, and I'm using my tweet verbatim here, okay? He needs to be somebody else's problem next year, not the Yankees' problem.
Yeah, you want to go, look, you're the showrunner here. You want to go negative right away, or you want to get the positives out of the way?
What's the positive? Are we speaking about?
I think
what's the positive?
No. I think there's I'm just in general, because the positives are quick. There's not many of them, right? We can list them in 2 minutes. First of all, Nestor Cortes is the Yankee ace. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay, can I get there?
Okay, you want to go out? That's what I'm saying. You want to take this train
Torres right now.
Okay, so what we're doing here, let's just make it clear. We're taking the train, we're derailing it, and then we're gonna fix it for a little bit, and then we're gonna fucking take it completely off the tracks.
Sure, if that's what you want to do.
Fine. Gleyber Torres is the biggest waste of fucking space. I was wrong about the fact that I thought he was coming back and being
I don't know.
Player.
The biggest waste of space compared to who?
Compared to the guy we thought we were gonna get.
Okay.
Okay. Listen.
Not the biggest waste of space on this team.
No.
But
there's plenty that give him a run for his money. Here's what I'll say about Gleyber Torres. He's one of those players, just like Joey Gallo, who I actually like and I want to see be successful.
And he's playing well out in LA.
Not Joey Gallo. I'm talking about Torres now.
You said Joey Gallo you like and you want to see him succeed.
Like Joey Gallo, I always wanted to see him succeed, because not just because he was a Yankee, but because I actually like Joey Gallo. I actually like Gleyber Torres. Of course I want to see any Yankee succeed, but it pains me on a different level to see him fail, because I think he's genuinely a good dude.
I think he's genuinely stupid too.
He's genuinely stupid too. I agree with you, but it kills me because this dude was apparently the best. Look, anyone who wants to sit here, I'm sure Volpe's going to be a fucking superstar. But anyone who wants to defend Cashman and say he shouldn't have gotten Castillo because we need to hang on to Volpe, piece of evidence number 1, Gleyber Torres,
who Cincinnati wanted 2 years ago for Luis Castillo.
There you go.
The Yankees said no.
Right, exactly. He's evidence number 1. I'm not saying Volpe's that. All I'm saying is you don't know if he's going to be another Gleyber Torres. You don't know. Because Gleyber Torres, wasn't he the number 1 prospect in all of baseball for a while?
Yeah, around that ranking.
Volpe's not even that, is he?
I don't think he's number one overall. No,
Right.
but
He's not even at the level that Gleyber Torres once was. He's not even at that level in prospect land. And you're giving up on guys who can help this team win a World Series now for guys who aren't even as highly touted as Gleyber Torres once was. And that's all you have to go. That's all I have to point to. You see, the leverage is all in our court when you're when you're in the mindset that we're in. Everything points to what we're saying. And it's really difficult to watch this kid go out there. And then what's worse? What's worse than Gleyber Torres being a piece of shit? Gleyber Torres being a piece of shit batting fifth. That's what's worse.
Well, I'm not defending the Yankees and their lineup construction, but I don't know what else is going to happen at this point when Josh Donaldson sucks and he's sick right now and Stan's out and Matt Carpenter's out. Somebody's got to bat fifth.
Yeah, sure. But here's my problem, man. My problem is you're DHing Aaron Judge and you're playing Marwin Gonzalez, who's 2 for his last 40.
Yeah, he hasn't had a hit since.
And then you're also putting Aaron Hicks out there, which again, someone came at me today because I said Florial must be dead or hurt. And they're not. He's 1 for 20. I don't care if he's negative 10 for 30. I do not want to see Aaron Hicks in this fucking lineup anymore. I don't care. Let the guy go 1 for 50. I don't care. Stop putting Aaron Hicks in this fucking lineup, especially in must-win games.
Well, you could see the difference between the way the Yankees think about Cabrera versus the way they think about Florial. The Yankees, just for whatever reason, don't like Estevan Florial. Okay, he was only brought up here because they got sick of looking at Aaron Hicks and they needed to do something for a couple of days, and they figured maybe we could get a little hot streak out of this kid, and because we know we're not going to get it out of a guy like Tim Locastro. Whereas Cabrera, who's not hitting,
wasn't Locastro hurt too?
No, he's fine now.
Oh no, he's bad. They just sent him down.
Yeah. Whereas a kid like Cabrera, who's up here, who's not hitting, okay, he's got 3 hits since he's been up here. His at bats, they look good. Like he looks like he has an idea up there. It's just not computing really.
He's not putting it all together.
But the Yankees you're seeing what the Yankees like about him. He can play. He's played third base, shortstop, right field since he's been up here, and he looks like he can handle all 3 positions. And he's made good defensive plays in all 3 positions.
I'll tell you what. If IKF's playing shortstop today, the Yankees might not win that game.
No, the Yankees lose this. I honestly, God, and it's not to pile on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. If he's at shortstop and that same play happens that where Cabrera booted it and then he
throws it away for sure.
Oh, I don't even know if he gets the throw off. And you could say that too. You don't even know if he gets the throw off. But yes, that exact thought went through my mind that if IKF is playing short, the Yankees lose this game today.
So now here's my thing. When does the service time shit end? Like when they can call up? Is that September? Is that September 1st?
I had heard that one. I had heard. I don't know. Honestly, that's a weak point for us. I guess if you want to blame us for anything, we don't know this. I just don't understand how that all works. But I did hear that with the September call-ups, then you can roll it over. It doesn't count as a year of service time.
Because here's the thing: the Yankees are clearly in a tailspin. So the fact that service time is even being talked about is disgraceful in itself. But if that's going to be the Yankees' MO or whatever, until Peraza gets called up, I need to see Cabrera at short from here on out.
Well, again, we're assuming that's what the Yankees are doing. They probably are, but we don't know that for a fact. We know how they handle their prospects.
What else would it be?
He's not ready.
Okay. Yeah, no one's ready. No one's ready. Can't trade him, but no one's ready.
Well, what's more likely?
Listen, dude, I don't even know anymore because we live in the twilight zone with this team. Can you just for a second? No. I'm not going to get out of control.
Okay.
I'll let it get there. I'll let it breathe.
Okay.
You just keep going.
So my big problem with today was Gleyber Torres was one of my big problems.
Okay.
It's time to cut that cord. I think it. That the first half where everybody was like, "Oh, it should have been All-Star." I think he's shown now he's regressed back to what he was in 2020 and 2021, where he was probably the worst everyday player in Major League Baseball.
He's beyond that now.
And it's not even that he's bad. It's just that he has no baseball intelligence. I'm not saying that he's like stupid, like he can't count to 3 or he can't spell cat, but he's stupid when it comes to playing baseball. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has no plate discipline. He has no knowledge of what's supposed to be happening. Like, you're struggling to score runs. Manoah is struggling to throw strikes. You're up 2-0 in the count. Take a pitch. No. He's got to be the hero. He's got to try to swing from his heels. The pitch is way inside. Could have been 3-0. Manoah gets back in the count, strikes him out. Inning over. Runner at second base.
No. Hold on a second. I don't know if we're talking about the same at-bat.
There's 2 at-bats.
There was an at-bat where he was 3-0.
There was an at-bat later in the game when he was up 3-0.
And he grounds out.
Pitch is way inside. He could have walked. Again, it's Cabrera behind him. You don't know what Cabrera's going to do in that spot, but at least you can extend the inning and take a chance that something might happen. No, he's swinging. There's certain guys on this team, and I don't like swinging 3-0. I'm totally against it. I hate it. It's one of my pet peeves. I understand why people do it. But there's certain guys on this team that the red light should be up when it's 3-0, okay?
100%.
You want to give – Judge can have the green light 3-0. I didn't even mind it when Rizzo had it 3-0 later in the game because he didn't come through, but it was a fastball that was middle in, I think. Maybe it was a little bit low, but it was kind of in a zone where he could have hit that pitch out.
And
so
correct me if I'm wrong. The Yankees had a lead at this point.
They might have been up 1-0.
It was either 1-0 or 2-1.
But I have no problem.
The 3-0 count with the Glaber, it was 2-2, I believe, at that point.
No, because it happened in the first inning, and then I believe it happened in the third inning. So it was early in the game. It wasn't 2-2
No. There was another at bat then.
It was his first 2 at bats. It was his first 2 at bats. I'm telling you, it was his first 2 at bats.
Okay, then there was 3 at bats. You just missed the last one because I was listening in the car.
He wasn't up 2-0, 3-0 at any other point.
Okay, we'll see. Okay.
But you want to give it to Rizzo where he could cheat a little bit on a fastball and hit one out? I don't have a problem with that either. But there's certain guys that don't have enough plate discipline to know when not to swing. They just think they have the green light. They're just going to go bananas, and that's what you saw with Gleyber Torres. That could have been a situation that cost the Yankees because they allowed Manoah to get back in the count. He grounds out, and they strand another runner in scoring position. And how many times? He made a really good play at second base later in the game. DJ made a little wayward throw. He was able to pick it, but how many times do you see Gleyber Torres? He just doesn't seem to have his head in the game.
Wow, I can't believe you're right about that.
Okay, well, I watched the game today.
Yeah, I had to listen to it.
Okay, well,
so it was only the third inning.
Eyes are better than yours.
First and second. He gets a slider, a sinker, and a 4-seam fastball. Nowhere. Okay, so the first and second pitch were close, but they were balls. Third pitch, way outside. You got to be taking way inside. Sorry, no, it shows.
Yeah, it was inside.
Oh, okay. You got to be taking till you get 2 strikes.
No shit.
You take until you get 2. You have 2 runners on, and he fouls one off, swinging strike, and then grounds out. Awful.
Yeah, that was the second at bat. That was
the second one. Wow.
But I can't do we said last year that they had to cut the dead weight, right? Voit, Urshela, not that these guys are necessarily dead weight, but the staleness out of this team, right? They had to get rid of it. They did some of that. Now next year, you have to continue this trend, and Gleyber Torres is got to be one of these guys. You can't hold out hope that you're going to get a good player for him. You just have to get him out of here now at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. You think Glaber's one of those guys that goes somewhere else and is successful? I don't. I think we saw his, what he's capable of. We saw his ceiling, and I just don't see him ever coming close to it again.
I don't know if I think he can be a solid everyday player. I think what his numbers will be this year, or what he's going to probably finish around 250 with 20, 25 home runs, maybe driving 60. That's not bad for a second
It's not
baseman,
a terrible year.
but I think we've seen enough of him now at this point to, somebody was telling me on one of my tweets, like, we need to be patient with him.
Patient? What?
The guy got called up. How much longer do we have to watch Gleyber Torres? We have to be patient with him.
What year did he get called up? 18?
18, right? It was 18. When did he have Tommy John? Was that 17?
Yeah, it was 18 he got called up for sure. It was 18.
And
did he get called up the beginning of the year?
No, he got called up in May, I believe.
And then when did he have the breakthrough year? 19?
Yeah, it was 19 when he hit 38 home runs.
And then that was it, man. He just disappeared. His
rookie year, 24-77. Then he had the 38 and 90 year, and then he hit 12 combined home runs the next two seasons. I know one of them was the COVID year, but he hit 9 home runs last year. That's pretty bad.
If you're only going to hit 9 home runs, you better be hitting 320.
And he hit
for the guy he profiles as.
He hit 259 last year.
I was going to say, and he was definitely in the 250s.
He had a 697 OPS. I mean, it's not acceptable. So he's just a guy. I mean, now watching him for all these years, he's not a guy that you would say, who's a winning ball player on this team? You don't point to Gleyber Torres when you ask that question.
You definitely don't.
And who's a guy that you want to talk a little bit positively about this team? And you want to say who's a guy that is a winning ball player, and maybe he does it with smoke and mirrors. And we've talked about this. Is Nestor Cortes? The Yankees needed him to show up today, and he did.
Yep.
All right. He gave up. Was it one over? He gave up 1 run over
1 over 6.
He didn't get charged with that second run, right?
No, he was out of the game. It was NYYST that got charged for the second.
Right, because Boone finally started. This is the problem. We'll get all right. Let's not get sidetracked. Let's talk about Nestor. Let's talk about Nestor.
We're going to bring the train back onto the tracks a little.
We'll talk about the bullpen in a moment here. Okay.
Okay.
It pains me to say this because you know how much I love the guy, but I'm not making excuses for him. I'm not defending him anymore. Nestor Cortes did today what the Yankees needed Garrett Cole to do yesterday.
Correct.
Everybody's saying, and look, you can't win many games 1-0, right? We all know that. It's tough to win in a situation like that when your offense cannot score a fucking run to save their life.
Correct.
But you are Garrett Cole, right? You're Garrett Cole. What are you brought here to do? Win a 1-0 game. Save the team when they need to be saved. And again, that inning got away from him on Saturday because he fucking doesn't know how to pitch. I don't understand how a guy is supposed to be as good as him, and people will say he's a very cerebral pitcher and blah, blah, blah. It's so stupid on the mound sometimes. When the inning got away from him with the walk to Danny Jansen, right? We all know that. That's where the inning fucking blew up on him. It wasn't the double to Kirk or the double to Bradley. It was because he walked Danny Jansen. And earlier in the game, the previous at-bat, Danny Jansen stood no fucking chance against Garrett Cole's fastball. And Garrett Cole's walking him because he's throwing him fucking junk.
Correct.
So that's where the inning got away from him. And then again, you have to sometimes get on that mound and proclaim who the fuck you are and say, you know what, you guys might only give me 1 run today, but I'm going to make that 1 run stand up. And he didn't do it. And that's a complete failure on his part. And again, I don't want to hear, and people were like, well, it was really good yesterday, except for that 1 inning. Well, you gave 4 fucking runs in that inning.
Hold on. Let me just say
4 runs in that inning.
Let me just say 2 things. One, real quick, that's like people who care about ERA plus. That's like people who are like, yeah, well, if he wasn't pitching at Yankee Stadium, well, he does pitch at Yankee Stadium. Okay, that's the first thing. This is reality. You can take whatever you want in your fantasy land. This is reality. The 1 inning means something because it ruined the fucking game. Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, let me ask you a question. You talk about what Garrett Cole's brought here to be, right? Let's just say it's another Subway Series World Series. Okay, Yankees Mets game 1. It's Garrett Cole versus Jacob deGrom.
Okay.
I tell you, you fall asleep because you took back too many Jack and Cokes. You fall asleep in the second inning. You wake up because I'm calling you off the hook. I say, bro, Yankees won the game. What do you expect the score to be?
1-0, 2-1.
Correct. And if the Yankees win, it's because Garrett Cole fucking went out there and shut down and went toe-to-toe with the fucking best pitcher in baseball and did his job. I don't give a fuck if it's 1 run. I don't care if it's 10 runs. The second this guy gets a lead, his job is to fucking protect it. So don't give me this bullshit that the offense sucks. The offense did their job. Whether you think it's fair or not, Garrett Cole having a lead should be end of discussion, especially in a time where this team is in a downward spiral and their aces on the mound. Because what do you think's going to happen when he's going toe-to-toe with the best in the game? I'm sorry. There's no excuse.
I didn't say that there was an excuse.
No. I'm just saying in general because a lot of people are trying to make excuses for this guy.
You cannot make excuses for him right now. Every time it seems like he's ready to turn the corner, he does what he did yesterday, which is unacceptable. The Yankees gave him a run. We know he can win 1-0 games. We've seen it. It was the best game he ever fucking pitched as a Yankee down in Houston last year. We know he can do it.
Do you know what his ERA is right now?
It's like 3.4, 3.44.
3.41.
Yeah, he's not had a good year. There's no way you can defend anything that this guy's done this year.
Terrible.
Now what it becomes is to figure out how to be the best version of Garrett Cole as we head to October. Okay, that is what the Yankees need. It doesn't matter what what is he going to have? Like 7, 8, 9 more starts the rest of the year. It almost doesn't matter what he does now the rest of the year.
No.
Your year is fucked. Okay, you're not gonna look at the back of Garrett Cole's baseball card in 2022 and be like, wow, he's had a poor year. He's every time he does something, a new career high in this, a new career high in that, blah blah blah. And it's not anything good.
Do you think, because we've talked a lot about Garrett Cole and his mental capability, at least for this year, it just seems like he just constantly is doubting himself. Do you think that he has it? He has enough within him that the second we get into October, into playoff baseball, that he still has the mental capability to drop his balls on that mound and be the guy we need him to be?
I mean, am I being honest with you?
Be honest with me. Yeah.
I have not seen it. But as a fan, I have to believe it's in there, or else what are we watching for? Yeah. Because I've said it time and time again. There's 2 guys the Yankees cannot survive being bad in October, and he's one of them. And the other guy is Aaron Judge. They need both. The team needs both of those guys to be the best of themselves come October. Yeah. The Yankees cannot. Think about it like this. Look at the rest of this rotation, right? If Garrett Cole is bad and not winning games, where are you getting the wins from?
Yeah, because it's crazy. It just
do you trust Jamison Tyone?
No.
What's a good outing from Jamison Tyone? 3 innings and 5 innings and 3 runs.
I would at this point, I'd sign up for that all day. And the problem with Jamison Tyone is that he might give you a quality start, but those 3 runs are coming early with him. Like when he's giving up only 3 runs, they're usually coming pretty early, and you can't have that in a playoff game anyway.
I mean, we can get into how bad Frankie Montas has been for this game. And this is last week we sat here and said, the line's not great against Boston, but the stuff looked really good. He was fucking terrible the other night.
Terrible. Unwatchable.
And who else? Who else is in this? Herman's not taking the fucking ball in October. That's not going to happen. Right?
Right.
So you have Herman here, who, as we were saying, like, okay, well, he's kind of matched what Montgomery's been doing in St. Louis. Not really the reason why the Yankees have lost, but he sucked his last time out.
Yeah.
And guess who pitched the same night that he pitched? Clark Schmidt. They're on the same schedule.
Crazy, man. It makes zero sense.
There is zero reason. None. You cannot give me one good reason. I would love to hear it if you have it. Okay. Why Clark Schmidt should not take Herman's next start.
I just don't. I can't wrap my head around the fact, and I know I harp on this. I can't wrap my head around the fact that there's people out there defending this organization, their decisions. How can you defend this general manager? I mean, Aaron Hicks is still in this lineup pretty much every day. How are you defending this?
Well, not really, not anymore.
Well, you know what I mean. He's still playing. You have Clark Schmidt now rotting away in AAA just like everyone else, right? You have a kid in Peraza who I'm sorry. Look, I said this. I tweeted this the other day, but Florial and Cabrera are not the sparks this team needs. We all know what that spark is. Let's not pretend. Let's not play make pretend. And that the Cabrera call up was to spark something with youth in this lineup. He's not the guy. I'm not saying it's not
half
been great.
measure. It's a half measure.
It's been cool. It's been fun watching him, but it's not the move. And if you're telling yourself that it is, you're either in denial or you're fucking Cashman's burner account.
Look, it's a half measure, which is the Yankees is what they do all the time now. We all know they should have went out there and got Luis Castillo. That's the guy. You pay the extra price for him. And I saw some dumbass on Twitter today. He got roughed up today, thinking he allowed 4 runs in 5 innings, and somebody was like, "Oh, is this the guy you wanted?" Yeah, it's the guy I wanted. He can have a fucking bad start. You've seen the Yankees have scored 1 legitimate run off this guy in 3 starts. He gave that home run to Higashioka because they pushed him because they were up like 40-0 against the Yankees in that game, a Yankee Stadium. You know, so yeah, that's the guy you go and get.
You know, one of my buddies asked me,
but just to finish this point, okay. Castillo's the guy they don't go there. They take the half measure, they bring in Frankie Montas, and what happens? And here, this is for that bad Yankee takes account. When I tweet it, I can't wait to see what fucking second class bum the Yankees bring out. And that fucking virgin loser scumbag retweeted me and was like, update? Yeah, update now, bro. How's Frankie Montas been as a fucking Yankee? Okay. How's that been working out? Because the Yankees took the fucking low road here to bring in a second class pitcher, because that's what he is compared to Luis Castillo. We all know it. Let's admit it. Right. I'm not saying this is we've written the book on Frankie Montas as a Yankee, but let's admit what he is compared to a guy Luis Castillo, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Peraza versus Cabrera. We all know the move was fucking Peraza. That's the move all the fans wanted. This is the move this is one of your top 5 prospects. Cabrera's like ranked 12th.
Yeah.
But 12th. They brought him up. It's a fucking just to appease people. It's a fucking half measure. It's what this team does now.
Making a fool of us. So my buddy texted me and he asked me what I truly think. Do I think it's just
different buddy?
No, different buddy.
Okay.
What do I think is going on? Do I think it's the dog days of August? Do I think this team just genuinely sucks? And I gave him a few different points. I think one of my points was that the starting pitching they're throwing a lot of high leverage pitches from start to finish, right? And that's taxing.
Recently, yes.
Recently, I'm talking about. That's very taxing on a pitching staff, and they've still been pretty good. That's one of the things. I think another thing is Stanton not being in this lineup and really rounding out this lineup.
Oh, but wait till you hear this one.
Do you want to do it? You want to tell me now?
Yeah, I do actually.
Let me hear it.
Stan's 0 for 7 in his rehab assignment.
Yes, I almost care.
So I saw tweets today be like, "This is the guy the Yankees are waiting for. He can't even hit AA pitching."
Here's what you got to worry about.
These are real people.
Maybe they might be bots. But here's the thing with Stanton, right? He's got to be healthy, and he's got to feel like his timing's back. The second that happens, I don't care if he's 0 for fucking 20. You bring him right back up, and you get him back in this lineup because the
Yankees are going to Anaheim after they play the Mets. I heard Boone say he doesn't think he'll play against the Mets, but he should be in LA for the Angels series.
All right, so he's close. So that's another thing. I think Stanton does a lot more for this lineup than people think, whether he's slumping or not. And then on top of that, you're seeing guys like Judge, who's clearly in one of the worst slumps of his life. He's not getting great. And recently he's been getting better pitches because I think pitchers know he's just not seeing the ball now that well. But you're seeing him being pitched completely different than normal. Okay, so that's where I'm going to see. But here's where the biggest point I made,
because you don't have to
pitch to
him
him
right now.
You don't even have to pitch to him. You literally don't. But here's the biggest point I think I made that hit home for him was that last year Brian Cashman did a really great thing at the deadline, and we got to give him credit where it's due.
Andrew Heaney.
Yes. Brian Cashman went out there and made some surprise moves that when you stepped away from it and looked in, you said, this general manager has faith in this team to take it to the next level and to win a World Series. And Brian Cashman went out there this deadline with a serious team now, because when you compare this team to last year, this team's way more serious than last year. They had such a big lead. They were a powerhouse. They were the best team in baseball. If he went out there and solidified that with moves that proved to this organization, to the players on the field, that he had faith in them to take it the distance and win a World Series, you might see a completely different team out there right now. But when he doesn't do that, when he fails to do that, when he brings in the second-rate guys, and I'm not saying Frankie Montas was a bad move in a vacuum, but when you take into context who he could have gotten, what he should have done, it's deflating. When you look at what he did at this deadline, getting rid of a guy like Montgomery, it's deflating.
And again, we talked about that. The deflation doesn't come from the trade of Jordan Montgomery. It comes from the fact that the guy they got is hurt.
Right.
If
He's not even here.
If Harrison Bader could have stepped into the lineup on August 3rd or 4th or whenever he would have gotten here and played, it might be a different story about how you feel about that trade.
Like think of it this way, right? You travel a lot for work.
Okay, yes, this is true.
Okay. You're fucking having the best year of your fucking work career, of your professional career. And there's rumblings that with the right vehicle, you can take shit to the next level. And you're the guy to do it. You're the fucking man. And then you turn around and your fucking boss gets you a Prius when you were expecting a fucking Jeep. How do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel important? Do you feel like they really value you?
I feel like they believe in saving the environment. Okay?
Right. Instead of fucking just going all out and being the best company they can be. And that's really what it comes down to, man. That's not an excuse on the players or Boone, because regardless of what the GM does, this team needs to break through and get their heads out of their asses. But at the end of the day, man, I'm sorry. You people might be sick of me saying it. I'm not taking any blame anywhere else until the one person who I feel is most accountable gets held accountable. And that's Brian Cashman.
So if on opening day, okay, I told you that we were recording a podcast on August 21st, and the New York Yankees were 26 games over 500 with a 7-game lead in the East,
I'd be so happy.
Right.
I'd Jeffrey Tubin on the fucking podcast.
It's just you have to take things into perspective that they're still in a really good spot right now.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
That's why with wins like this today, you can kind of step away and be like, okay, maybe.
I know a lot of people were freaking out about this because it's Manoah, Scherzer, DeGrom his next 3 games. The Mets might slot in Taiwan Walker, and we won't see DeGrom, but everybody's like, oh, should I even watch? Listen, the Yankees couldn't hit fat gym teacher Kenny Powers right now, so it doesn't matter who is on the mound for the opposing team.
And yeah, you should watch because DeGrom and Scherzer are great pitchers.
And if you're a fan of the team, what you have a defeatist attitude like that, then what's the point of even being a fan? Like, if that's just the way you feel about certain things. And they won today. They should have smacked the shit out of Alek Manoah. They didn't. I mean, and Alek Manoah is a guy, he's a great pitcher. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's a fake tough guy. I'm so sick of this fucking act, okay?
Yeah.
Do
you think he hit Judge on purpose?
I don't think he hit Judge on purpose because he was wild today.
Okay. So here's what I will say. You think Manoah had an approach there that maybe he was going to throw inside and actually back Judge off the plate a little bit?
I think he didn't know where his fastball was going today, and he tried to throw inside. And I think Judge knew that. and you talk about what does Judge do as a leader. He took this as an opportunity to get his team's blood flowing today.
Okay, let's just stay there for a second. I thought of you because, again, I was listening at this point. I thought of you. I was waiting for the text, your famous text that you say, that's the game right there. Because the second he got the team going and then they fucking went down and died that inning, did you think the game was over? They were winning at this point.
No.
They laid down and died after that. Didn't you think that was going to be the moment they fucking broke through?
I thought they were going to break through there, but I don't know if I had that feeling of dread that the game was over at that point.
I did. I certainly did.
So I think Judge took that as an opportunity to try to get the team rallied, get the team motivated, get their blood pumping. Okay. Ultimately, I guess it didn't work. They didn't score that inning. Garrett Cole's the first guy out of the dugout. He's chirping at Manoah. Cheeseburger Boy after the game is like, well, if Judge really, what did he say? He said, well, if Garrett really wants to do something, he can walk past the Audi sign. Okay. Do we remember? I don't know if you remember, but do we remember back in April when Luis Severino hit? I forget who it was, but he hit one of the Blue Jays, and Alek Manoah was running his fucking mouth from the dugout, and Sevy challenged him to come on the field, and Alek Manoah did not leave the dugout.
Yeah.
Okay, so
a little bitch.
You can talk about Garrett Cole, who was actually out on the field today. Okay, whether or not he actually wanted to do anything about it is another story. But Garrett Cole is usually one of the first guys out of the dugout, and this is not, this is not me praising Garrett Cole, but he's usually one of the first guys out of the dugout when shit like this happens. So he's not hiding like a bitch in the dugout.
Right.
Okay. And Luis Severino told you to fucking man up. You didn't want to. And then today, when Aaron Judge was fucking talking shit to you, you were like, Mr. Judge, I'm sorry, please. I didn't mean to hit you. So that's that about it. Yeah, okay. But he's a great pitcher. Not going to take that away from him. But
I have no respect for him, though.
I have no respect.
I'll tell you what. Out of the three big pitchers or whatever you want to call them that the Yankees are about to face, I only have respect for one of them because I absolutely hate Max Scherzer's guts.
Why? Because of his eye?
No, the eye's actually kind of cool. I hate Max Scherzer. I think Max Scherzer is the biggest bitch in baseball. I really do. I really despise.
I know a lot of people look, and again, they're not sticking up for Garrett Cole here. Everybody ripped on him for the way he acted after Billy Crystal took 4 minutes too long on opening day. Max Scherzer literally threw a fucking Japanese ambassador off the fucking mound on Japanese Heritage Night at Citi Field.
And then he's like, the players should get paid more. Fucking loser. I hate him. I hate him. I really do. I hope the Yankees fucking destroy him. I really do. DeGrom, different story. I probably respect him more than any other pitcher in baseball by
the Yankees
far.
The Yankees really need to win. I don't know if the Yankees are going to play either of these next two games. The weather around here is not supposed to be great. So we'll see what happens with that. But, so as we were saying, Nestor Cortes went out there and did what the Yankees needed Garrett Cole to do on Saturday. He went out there 1/6. It was kind of a fluky home run because it dinked off the fucking wall twice. And I don't know if you saw it. It hit the front of the fucking wall where you would think that the ball would bounce on to at the very least, the ball would bounce onto the field, but it went up and bounced over. And, I know it wasn't Aaron Hicks's fault, but it was just fitting that Aaron Hicks was there when it happened. But if you look at Nestor Cortez's numbers, man, I mean, he's having the type of season that we wanted Garrett Cole to have. If we could have had those two guys pitching like this, maybe things would be a little bit different. But, that's what I was saying. Contextually, the Yankees are still 26 games over 500. I know they were pushing 40 a couple weeks ago. They had a 15-game lead. It's still 7. So they've come back to the
7 in the loss, 8 overall.
But not really. Have they really come back to the packet? I mean, this is why, they suffered one of the worst stretches they've ever had. They're still 7 games up in the division. So now it's time to play better baseball. Get this, whatever this was, just get it out of your system. Even if you split with the Mets, That's fine. If you play 500 baseball on here on out, you're still going to be in pretty good shape going into October.
Listen, we got to be fair, right? Everything you're saying is fair. I think what it comes down to is that we're fucking thirsty, man. We're hungry. We're thirsty and hungry.
And this team looked like it was an historically good team at the beginning of the year. Right. And now they're looking like what we thought they would be, a fourth place team at the beginning of when we were doing preseason stuff. So again, were they ever really as good as they were when they were 51-19 or whatever it was, and they were pushing 40 games? No, they were never really that good. Are they 5-14 or 4-14 in August? Are they that bad? No, they're not that bad. We know they're not this bad.
Yeah, and I think again,
so now it's just got to level out. If they play to a 500 record the rest of the way, they're going to get into the postseason. They're going to be the AL East champs. And again, people are like, people don't understand this. You have to only be 3 games over 500 to win a World Series. You go 11-8 in the postseason, you win the World Series. You don't have to be a world beater come October. That's what people don't understand. That's what a lot of people have this misconception that you have to just play tremendous baseball. You don't really have to do it in October.
I get the point you're making, but it goes a little deeper than that. I mean, you don't have the ability to go, 0-8 and then win 11 straight.
Yeah, right. But you can have you can.
The problem with this team right now was even when they were at their best. Here's my look. We can all sit here in the moment and be heated and be just discouraged overall and want to vomit when we watch this team. Fine, but at the end of the day, the only rational takeaway from all of this, for me at least, is that even when this team was at its best, they still couldn't beat the Astros. And so I don't understand right now, unless this team turns it way the fuck back on, how this team right now, compared to back then, compared to the middle of the season, how you're going to tell me this team now is going to come anywhere near beating the Astros in the postseason, especially because they lost the best record in the AL and now they're playing more games in Houston. I don't understand it. And that's where my biggest discouragement comes in because, look, could they have an epic collapse? Could it happen? Yes. Is it likely? No, where they don't make the playoffs. It's very unlikely this team doesn't win the division, even playing like shit.
I mean, they would have to finish under 500 not to make the postseason completely.
Right, completely. Right. And I still think they're going to hold on to the division for sure. I really do. I would fucking hope so. Okay. So it's very reasonable to believe that this team is going to face the Houston Astros in the ALCS. And I just don't see how. If I was questioning it 2 months ago when this team was fucking unstoppable, how I can sit here and honestly tell you and anyone listening to the show that I'm confident they can do it in October.
Okay, well, they need to have their slay the dragon moment. All right, this is just what it is.
And look, anything can happen in October. We've all seen it. Look at the Nationals a few years ago. The Nationals were under 500 at the All-Star break. I believe they were under 500 at the All-Star break the year they won the World Series.
So we all remember the last real great Mets team. Well, I guess the 2015 team went to the World Series, but that 2016 might have even been better. They lost to an 82-win team in the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLCS that went on to win the World Series.
Yeah.
We all know how these things happen. We all remember 2004. Okay, so shit happens.
I was there. Right.
People were there at the stadium today to celebrate Paul O'Neill, but he wasn't allowed to touch anybody. Okay.
Disgraceful. I wouldn't even, honestly, there's so much more to get upset about that I took the entire day to just really get that out of my system because I didn't think it was worth truly wasting any energy on in this show, how disgraceful that whole presentation was.
We all knew it was a money grab, and it it was rather embarrassing.
Embarrassing. I don't even know why Paul O'Neill did it, to be honest.
I think it meant a lot to him. I think if you saw him today and heard him, that it really did mean a lot to him. And I think even under these conditions, he wanted to accept that honor. So,
you want me to read a tweet I got from my tweet from O'Neill? I said, screw the Yankees, honoring a guy, treating him like he's got the plague for not being vaccinated, not allowed in the booth. Hal won't shake his hand. Disgusting and pathetic. If Michael K had an ounce of authenticity in his bones, I threw in his bones because he loves saying that.
In his bones.
He'd stand up for this nonsense. Someone just replied, it could have been easy for O'Neill. All he needed to do was get a shot. Everyone else should put their health at risk for the guest of honor. Okay. He's not in the booth because he did not meet a condition of his employment. He's lucky they let him work from home. You know what my reply is going to be? It's my new reply. Okay. Tweet. And that's how I get through in life. I just reply, okay, period. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was Paul O'Neill, just for a quick second here. I mean, I tweeted this and I believe it. I mean, I don't know how you could disagree with it. I think he's so beloved is because the fans saw the faults in him. They knew he wasn't the best. They knew he wasn't the most talented, the most athletic. But what did he do? He grinded. He showed you every day on that field that he wanted it. And that's what we loved about him. And you can question maybe 20, 22 out of the 26 guys on the Yankees, whether or not they really want this.
Yeah. Yeah, dude played with fire, man. No doubt about that.
And you know what? I think the Yankees retired too many numbers. I mean, do I think he should have got his number retired?
No.
Probably not, man. Like, I hate to say it about Paul O'Neill. I don't think that he should have got his number retired. I think an honor like that should be reserved for guys that, if they're not in the Hall of Fame, guys that have a case to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you could make a case. You could make a case because of how good Don Mattingly was for that stretch of time. He deserves it, and it was an injury that really kept him from getting to that Hall of Fame level. We know, you list off Mantle, fucking Ruth, Garrick, DiMaggio, obviously Jeter. You know, Andy Pettit and Jorge Posada really don't deserve it either. Like, honestly, the way I look at what the criteria you need to have your number retired, Andy Pettit was a really good pitcher. Was he ever truly great? As much as I love the guy, was he ever really truly great? You know, he's not a guy that sniffs the Hall of Fame. The same thing with Posada. Posada was a really good player. You know, the real true backbone of his team.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. If you're going to make a case for a guy who's not a Hall of Famer, I think at the very least, outside of Babe Ruth, who's obviously the greatest player to ever live, apparently.
Okay, but he's like Santa Claus. You don't believe in him.
Okay, don't believe in him. Okay. Outside of him, at the very least, you got to be here your whole career. You got to fucking be here. Like Posada, okay, I don't agree his number should be retired, but at least the dude was here. He was part of the core. He was here for a bunch of championships, and he was here his whole career. Like, Paul O'Neill wasn't here for all. When did Paulie retire?
2001.
After 2001.
The 2001 World Series was his last game.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
The whole chanting on the field.
Uh-huh.
So, like, it's tough. Is he beloved? Yeah. I just feel like the Yankees have turned the number of retirement into something that's tradition, that's prestigious, that doesn't happen often. They turned it into a clear money grab. And there's no doubting that. Like, I'm sorry. The fact that Derek Jeter got his number retired, how many years after he left the game?
Yeah, but I think that was extenuating circumstances.
Why?
Because I think they knew, because he was already planning to be part of the Marlins ownership group. Okay. And I think they wanted to get it done before he was part of another team.
But bro.
But what?
But hold on. That should have been something that like our kids are our age now, and we're going, listen, this motherfucker right here, one of the best Yankees to ever live. He should have been carted out because he couldn't really walk that well. That's how long they should have waited. But they did it like this. Why? Because the team was shit. The Yankees were shit.
Well, it happened in 2017. Okay.
Okay, did they expect to go to game 7 of fucking ALCS?
No, I don't think they expected that, but I'm telling you that it had a lot to do with the fact that he was in the process of buying the Marlins.
Okay, what about Posada?
When did they retire his?
What about Pettit?
When did they retire his number?
I don't know. Who cares?
Then they waited a respectable amount of years.
And we were there. We say this all the time. We were there for the Jeter retirement. The worst thing the Yankees could have agreed to was having ESPN do that game because it was so rushed. It was so awful, in my opinion.
Well, it was also apparently Jeter's call. He wanted to do it on Mother's Day. And I think that, and again, what you're forgetting here is that it felt as rushed as it did because there was a doubleheader that day, which they weren't planning on having to have happen, but it did.
Okay.
Okay. And another guy out there, I guess you could. What about Bernie, man? Do you think Bernie deserves it?
No. I'm sorry. Look, these guys were here
I struggle with him a little bit more than the other guys, though.
These guys were here for a stretch of time that you might not ever see in any sport ever again. That those teams were historic, and they were so good. They just made it look like that's what they were there to do. I can't explain it. You go back and watch some of those games from back then. You had a team that was just knew what their job was, and they had no doubt that they were going to do it. It was a different time.
Well, that's what everybody keeps bringing up too. Is another thing. It's like the 2000 Yankees. They lost like 20 straight games at the end of the season. They still won the World Series. That team knew how to win.
Right.
That was a team when you could trust that when October hit, they could turn on a friggin' switch, and they knew what they were doing out there.
Right. And so it's easy to sit here and say like, oh, but it's Bernie. Oh, but it's Jorge. Oh, but it's Pettit, who, by the way, is my favorite Yankee, second favorite Yankee of all time. Okay. Mo, absolutely. That's not a question. Right. We can sit here and draw the line. But it's easy to get emotional and say,
you don't think Joe Torre should get it?
Possibly. I do. I mean, Joe Torre was
You're saying they should take his number out?
Oh, no. I'm saying he should be retired.
It is retired.
I know. I'm saying it should be there.
You think they should take it out?
No, I think he deserves it.
There's two guys that if I really want to campaign for to get their numbers unretired.
Bill Dickey.
No, not even.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson, number one, okay? And Roger Maris.
Come on, dude. Look, okay, fine. Fair enough. But at least you can sit here and say the dude had a record that has never been clean, has never been broken by a clean player. Ever. Hasn't even been close.
You saw six.
Stanton was close.
You saw 61, right?
4 million times minimum.
He's not. He was never. Yeah. He won MVP,
but he did something historic.
Was he ever a great player?
Do you know what's crazy? Ever since Babe Ruth hit 60, you can make a case that every single person who broke that record maybe doesn't deserve it. Maris played more games. McGuire, roids.
Okay.
Sosa, roids.
Okay.
Bonds, double roids. And then no one else. That's crazy. So for Maris to do it, maybe give it to him.
I mean, Roger Maris isn't even in the Hall of Fame, bro.
Yeah, but you think Posada is?
Yeah, but I mean, at least Posada was a lifetime Yankee. Roger Maris was here for what, 5 years?
He was here for a cup of coffee.
When did Roger Maris? Let's look this up here.
Roger Maris was there in 60. He won MVP.
Yeah, 61. Okay.
61. And I believe he was gone by 64. 64?
Let's look this up, okay? There's websites for this now.
Okay. Maris is gone by 64 65.
And we all know why Reggie Jackson's in there, okay?
Yeah, he had a good game in the World Series.
66.
66, okay.
And Maris won back-to-back MVPs in 60 and 61. I mean, is that enough? I mean, is that really enough? You play 1, 2, 3, 4. What did you play? 7 years here?
It's because of the home run.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
because of the home run record.
At that point, I mean, seriously, A-Rod deserves it more than Roger Maris.
Oh, yeah, that will never happen. That would never happen.
I can't wait to see who gets 13 next. This is going to be fun.
Didn't someone wear it recently?
Yeah, Joey Gallo.
Yeah, Joey Gallo.
And the Yankees did that as a giant fuck you to Alex Rodriguez.
Absolutely. Because they got rid of him and then shipped him off.
And because he eviscerated Joey Gallo on fucking national TV a week before the trade went down.
Yeah.
So the Yankees are like, all right, we'll give him your number.
Yeah, you know what? Don't worry about it. He actually probably didn't even want it. They were like, no.
I think he wore 13 in Texas. So
yeah, I know, but I'm saying he was probably uncomfortable with it.
He's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable with a lot of
everything.
Yeah. So before we wrap up the show here, we definitely have to give Lou Trevino a lot of credit for this win today, man. 2 1/3 innings. He really held it down. The Yankees were really short in the bullpen. Aroldis Chapman was available.
Just when you thought Chappie was coming back around.
You saw what the Yankees' thought process on that was. He was definitely available. The Yankees used 3 pitchers in the 7th inning there to get through it.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They used 3 pitchers to get through the 7th inning.
How?
Because Loaizaga came in. He got 1 out. Wandy Peralta got 1 out. And then Trevino got 1 out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because, again, I don't know what Peralta's doing there. And I like Wandy Peralta. I think he's been really good for this team. But Jackie Bradley Jr. sucks, okay?
Yeah,
we all know that. Him. He's got, a 400 OPS against the lefties. You got to fucking challenge him with a fastball there. You can't – you got that slider over 3-1, but you got to challenge him in that situation. I would honestly and I know it's stupid, like it's a dumb thought to have, but I would rather him get beat on a fastball and give up a grand slam than fucking walk and lose the game than have him nibble with a slider there against a guy that's not a good hitter.
Well, if you notice something, he's not just a bad hitter; he's fucking terrible. But he was a thorn in the Yankee side all weekend, and not for anything great that he did. Isn't he the one who broke open the game against Cole?
Right, but Boone said a defensive positioning. It wasn't really well hit.
Oh my god! Give me a fucking break. Give me a break.
So Lou Trevino gets a lot of credit, man. 2 1/3 today, nails it. He nails it down here. He gets a lot of credit for this win today. We found out after the game, Scott Efros was unavailable because he had shoulder soreness after the game on Saturday.
I was wondering what the hell was going on.
Yeah, so we found that out. Loaizaga steps back into the circle of trust. Walks a batter. Only gets 1 out. Wandy with the walk, and then Trevino steps in there, and he has a great game. Marinaccio threw 18 pitches in the last 2 days. The Yankees wanted to stay away from him because God forbid somebody pitches 3 days in a row. But this is the last point I guess we'll make on the show today. Here, excuse me. Somebody's got to close games. Why not Ron Marinaccio?
Yeah. I mean, why not? At this point, why not just give it a shot? Why not?
He's been one of the not even one of the most dominant relievers for the Yankees. He's been one of the most dominant relievers in baseball in the time.
And they had him in AAA for 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, why not? Why not Ron Marinaccio?
Hey, maybe that's where they're going.
I don't see the harm in it, honestly.
Maybe that's where they're headed.
Albert Abreu's on the IL, so
I personally think Holmes is. I know he said that the back wasn't really bothering him up until the last outing. I think that shit was tight or something, and he just wasn't saying it because that guy's so talented that I just don't understand how he fell off that much with how dominant he was. So I'm willing to to let him work back and earn that closer spot back when he's.
You want to know what encourages me about Clay Holmes is that he wasn't hit. He didn't blow these games because he was getting smacked around.
Exactly. He just completely. I mean, there was one game he came in. It might have been his last game before he admitted he was hurt. Where it's like one of the first pitches, he just threw it to the backstop. I'm like, what the fuck is this, man?
He gave up a bomb to Salvador Perez in that game. The Yankees could have swept Kansas City. That was really like the one big hit he gave up. Other than that, he gives up he gives up a couple singles here. They find holes in the infield. Some of them are well struck. I'm not going to say they're not, but the trouble has started because he can't find the plate, and that's a mechanical issue, or that's because he was hurt. So if the Yankees can iron those things out, I think we can see first half Clay Holmes. So I'm not really that concerned with him.
Yeah.
And the big hero out there's really three big heroes today. Nestor Cortes pitched a hell of a fucking game. Okay.
That's one.
That's number one. Trevino is Trevino, not Trevino.
Trevino.
Okay? Hero.
Susan star of the game.
Was he? Okay.
Trevino, okay.
And Andrew Benintendi, man.
Benny. But Benny.
And I think Benintendi's looked a lot better the last 2 days when he's been hitting at the top of the lineup. Fucking shocker.
Oh, shocker. You know what? You know how John Sterling should just retire and hang it up? When you can't even make out his home run calls anymore.
No, I thought it was pretty good today.
No, I couldn't make it out. I don't know if I was just emotional. I was screaming. My daughter was crying because I scared her in the car.
Okay, scared her.
I just couldn't make it out. I didn't even know what the fuck he was saying. What was it?
There was...
It was he does this thing where he does two now with everything.
Yeah. He called them Bennies from heaven or something. Right, let's
see. Something like that.
All right. Fill air for like 1 second.
All right. So I'd say overall, and I was trying to get to this point before, but we kind of went off track. You can be excited about today because everything has to be optimistic.
Oh, he goes, okay. Do you want to finish your point?
Yeah. I just want to say that I know it's still discouraging how they're playing. And I know that after Donaldson's grand slam, you thought this team was going to step it up. And then Montas just fucking ruined it. But every time they have a game like this today, you have to, as a fan, go to sleep at night saying this is what's going to turn them around. And so I give credit to Benintendi for that big fucking monster home run and hopefully woke the beast.
So he goes, Benny, oh, molto bene. It's raining bennies from heaven.
Okay, that's good. It's solid.
I thought it was pretty clever.
It's solid.
Okay. So
solid.
As we look ahead here, unless you got anything else you want to talk about.
No, I'm done.
Okay. This show wasn't as negative as
I was just thinking that. I actually feel good, right? It was almost like a therapy session a little bit, but it wasn't as negative as I thought it was going to be because they won.
They won today, and they needed to win today. And I think if they
every time they win, they need it at this point.
Yeah, and we're not going to sell T-shirts that says we're back after today's game. Okay, we're not doing that.
Right. Okay? Let me just ask you a question before you get into the look ahead. Last thing I'll ask: does this team win 100 games?
How many games are left?
I don't know. They played 114 or no 122.
There's 74 and 40.
There are 40 games left. 40 games left.
They need to win 22. Can they go 22 and 18? I fucking sure hope so. I really hope that they can go 22 and 18 the rest of the way.
Yeah, but we said that, at the All-Star break, all they had to do was play 500 baseball. They win 100. They haven't played 500 baseball. So
no, they've got, I think they're like 13 and 26 in this extended stretch here.
So
yeah, can they go 21 and 18? I hope that's the bare minimum of what they do the rest of the way. I would like to really see them start playing better baseball. And, I'm not saying that they need to bludgeon, blow through teams like they did in the first half of the year, but is 22 and 18, is that too much to ask? I mean, I hope not. I really hope it's not too much to ask at his team the rest of the way. They need to, where's the central leader at? Because I think that's what we need to look at. They need the bye. I mean, the bare minimum is they need the bye. They can't play in the wild card series, right?
Correct.
They're not even that far ahead of Cleveland right now. No, they're 8 up on Cleveland. So I think if we're saying that they're safe 7 up on Tampa and Toronto, I think 8 is safe up on Cleveland. They're 3 behind the Astros right now. So I mean, I guess with a hot streak, and if Houston cools off a little bit, maybe they can catch them. But remember, the Yankees got to play 4 games better than Houston because Houston owns the tiebreaker. So yeah, I mean, the Yankees win 100 games, they're going to be the second seed in the American League, and I think that's the bare minimum of what they need to be. If they're in the wild card series, I don't even have honestly. If they're in the wild card series, I don't even know if they get out of it.
Maybe not. Sad.
And we hope that the Yankees do, because as this was announced on a Game Season Live earlier this week, NYY News TV is presenting a second event, and it will be scheduled for the day of Game 1 of the American League Division Series. All the details are on at NYY News TV on Twitter, so please go there and check it out. It will be scheduled. It's scheduled for October 11th, Game 1 of the ALDS. So we're, as a company, hoping the Yankees don't fuck this up somehow.
Oh man, it's risky.
It's risky.
A little risky.
When Pete and Francis started putting this together, it really wasn't. But now it might be. But again, thank you very much for listening to episode 295 of the NYYST podcast. And if you're watching on NYY News TV, please subscribe to the channel. Please follow us. Please give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. We appreciate it greatly. Appreciate your continued support. It's the Mets in next, and then the Yankees will hit the road trip. They'll be out west to play Anaheim and the A's. So if the Yankees can split with the Mets, they are playing weaker teams, and hopefully we can start to build this thing back up here. Where Aaron Boone was right. It's in front of them. All they got to do is handle their business. And like I said, 22-18 is not asking a lot, and that's handling your business, and you'll be the AL East champs at the end of the day. So
okay.
So we said things were a little bit more positive today after the win today. If they had not won this game, I don't know if I could have sat here and talked to you for an hour and 20 minutes.
No way.
Okay. So that's it. Thank you again for your continued support. Follow us at NYYST_podcast. Please go to patreon.com/NYYST. I will probably do my exclusive show there after the Mets series. So check that out. And thank you very much again. Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.